All right, so you want to be a specialized vet.
Someone who goes beyond the typical vet duties.
Exactly. It's more than just a love for animals, right?
You're thinking about real expertise,
We're diving deep into RoleCatcher's insights on this career path.
covering everything from the skills you'll need to what those interview questions really mean.
Think of this as your cheat sheet to navigating this rewarding but demanding field.
Definitely.
Let's start by unpacking exactly what sets specialized vets apart.
Okay.
I mean, we all have our favorite species.
Right.
I'm a sucker for a three-legged rescue myself.
Of course.
But this is different.
It is.
What makes them the top dogs, so to speak, of the animal care world?
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about authority and independence that you won't find in a standard vet role. RoleCatcher really stresses this.
Okay.
These are the vets who have the credentials to diagnose, treat, even perform surgery, often for very specific species or medical issues.
So are you saying it's an arm?
Think of it like this.
Okay.
You wouldn't want a general practitioner performing open heart surgery on you, would you?
That's a good way to put it.
Right.
So these are the heart surgeons.
Yes.
The neurosurgeons.
A neurologist.
But for our furry, scaly, even feathered friends.
Precisely. And with that level of expertise comes a huge sense of ethical responsibility, something RoleCatcher highlights a lot.
Right.
These vets are making life or death decisions, often with limited information, just like in human medicine.
Makes you realize how much trust we place in these specialists.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've established this isn't your average vet clinic gig. What's the day-to-day really like? Where do they work?
Well, the environment varies.
Is it all state-of-the-art labs and cuddly panda cubs?
While the environment varies, you're right, it's not always glamorous.
I see.
RoleCatcher mentions private practices, of course,
Yeah.
but also research institutions, government agencies, even animal welfare organizations.
So we're talking a wide range of settings.
Yes.
Each with its own unique challenges.
Exactly.
RoleCatcher doesn't shy away from the tougher aspects either. Long hours, emotional stress from dealing with sick animals and their worried owners.
That's right.
It takes a certain kind of person to handle that day in and day out.
Absolutely. Compassion fatigue is a real concern in this field. Imagine having to deliver a difficult diagnosis, maybe even euthanize a beloved pet.
It's got to be tough.
You need incredible empathy and resilience to navigate those situations.
That reminds me of something interesting from RoleCatcher.
Okay.
They touched on how technology is changing the game.
It is.
They mentioned things like telemedicine and wearable tech for animals.
Yes.
Is that becoming more common in vet medicine?
Absolutely. We're seeing incredible advancements in veterinary technology.
Really?
For example, some specialized practices are using wearable sensors to monitor patients' vital signs remotely,
Wow.
giving them real-time data on heart rate, respiratory rate, even activity levels.
That's amazing.
It's revolutionizing how we care for animals, especially those with chronic conditions.
That's incredible. It seems like this is a field that's constantly evolving, which probably keeps things exciting.
It certainly does. And with the growing pet population and advancements in animal care, the demand for specialized veterinarians is only going to increase. RoleCatcher predicts a very positive job outlook for the foreseeable future.
That's encouraging for anyone considering this path. Speaking of which, let's unpack the journey to becoming a specialist. I imagine it's pretty competitive. Where do you even begin?
Well, RoleCatcher breaks it down into clear stages,
Okay.
which can be helpful when you're just starting to explore this career path.
Right.
But at its core, it all begins with a solid foundation in veterinary medicine,
Okay.
which means a doctor of veterinary medicine degree, a DVM or VMD.
And that's after you've already earned a bachelor's degree. Right. So we're talking a significant commitment to education right from the start.
Yes.
RoleCatcher lists a bunch of key subjects.
Right.
Veterinary medicine, biology, animal science, zoology.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. You need to understand how creatures work from the inside out.
Absolutely.
But why are all those disciplines important?
You've hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
It's about building a comprehensive understanding.
Okay.
Biology gives you the basics of life. Animal science delves into their care and behavior. Zoology broadens the scope to different species. And veterinary medicine ties it all together with the practical skills of diagnosis and treatment.
So you're not just memorizing names of bones.
Right.
You're understanding how those bones function within a living, breathing animal.
Exactly. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Wow.
To truly excel in this field, you need hands-on experience. RoleCatcher emphasizes internships externships, even volunteering.
I bet.
It's one thing to read about surgery.
Yeah.
It's another to actually hold the scalpel.
Hold on.
Okay.
For those of us who haven't been through the vet school ringer,
Mm.
what exactly is an externship?
Good point.
I know, right?
It's essentially a short-term training program, usually done while you're still a student, where you get to work alongside experienced vets in a real-world setting. It's a chance to apply your knowledge, build confidence, and see if a particular specialization is right for you.
So it's like a test drive before committing to a specialty.
Precisely. You get to experience the day-to-day realities of the job and figure out if you have the passion and resilience to pursue it long-term.
That makes a lot of sense.
Good.
So let's say you've got the grades, the experience, you even assisted on a few splenectomies. What comes next? How do these specializations actually work? It's not like you just pick cat doctor from a hat.
Right. Not quite.
It's a bit like choosing a medical specialty, but for animals. RoleCatcher dives into this,
Yeah.
highlighting areas like internal medicine, surgery, dermatology, oncology.
Right.
We're talking a whole human hospital system, but for our furry and not so furry companions.
It's amazing to think about the breadth of knowledge involved. You could be treating a geriatric tortoise one day, then operating on a parrot's wing the next. What stood out to you from RoleCatcher's breakdown of these specialties?
What's fascinating is how specialized some vets become.
Really?
RoleCatcher mentioned a vet who focuses solely on feline cardiology.
Wow.
Imagine dedicating your career to understanding the intricacies of a cat's heart.
Wow, that's incredible. You could be a world expert in something so specific.
Yeah.
But that level of expertise doesn't happen overnight. RoleCatcher mentioned something about residencies, right?
What exactly are those?
You're right. It takes years of dedicated training even after vet school. Residencies are like intensive apprenticeships for vets who want to specialize. They usually last 3 to 4 years, and you're working alongside top specialists in your chosen field, getting hands-on experience with complex cases.
So it's like the difference between knowing how a heart should work
Yeah,
and actually performing open heart surgery.
exactly.
It's that next level.
Exactly. And throughout your career, RoleCatcher stresses the importance of continuous learning. Conferences, professional associations, staying updated on the latest research. The learning never truly stops in this field.
It makes you realize the dedication involved.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you've powered through your residency. You're officially a specialist. What does that career trajectory actually look like? RoleCatcher mentioned different stages, right?
They did, and it's a helpful way to visualize your growth. You usually start as an entry-level veterinarian, working under the guidance of a more experienced specialist. Think of it as fine-tuning your skills and building confidence in your niche.
So you're still learning the ropes, but in a much more focused way than during your general vet training.
Precisely. From there, you might progress to a general practitioner veterinarian within your specialty. You're handling your own caseload, diagnosing, treating, maybe even performing surgeries, but still under the umbrella of a larger practice or institution.
Then comes the associate veterinarian stage.
Right.
What does that entail?
As an associate veterinarian, you have more autonomy. You're managing your own caseload, mentoring junior vets, perhaps even developing a niche within your specialization. RoleCatcher gave the example of an avian vet who becomes the go-to expert for raptor rehabilitation in their region.
That's so cool. You become known for your unique expertise. So what's the pinnacle, the peak of the mountain in this career path?
Well, according to RoleCatcher, it's becoming a senior veterinarian. These are the wise owls of the veterinary world, often leading entire departments or practices, setting standards of care, and mentoring the next generation of specialists. They may even contribute to research or education. It's a leadership position that demands years of experience and a deep understanding of your field.
Wow, that's quite a journey. It's inspiring to think about starting with just a love for animals and ending up as a leader in veterinary medicine. But it's clear that it takes a lot more than just loving animals to succeed. You need that unshakable commitment to learning and pushing your skills further.
I couldn't agree more. And speaking of skills, RoleCatcher doesn't just focus on the technical stuff. They highlight some essential soft skills that often get overlooked, and these are crucial for any aspiring specialist.
That's a great point.
Right.
We've talked about the science, the residencies, the different specializations, but what about the personal qualities that make a great specialized vet? Let's dive into that in Section 4. So we're talking Section 4 now,
Okay.
prepping for your residency, education, and essential skills.
Right.
What are we uncovering? Give me the inside scoop.
Okay, let's talk about those soft skills. RoleCatcher highlights reading comprehension as absolutely vital. Now, that might seem obvious.
Yeah.
You're going to be dealing with complex medical journals,
Right.
research papers, the works, but they emphasize that it's not just about getting through those dense texts, it's about actively learning throughout your career.
So you're not just cramming for exams anymore. You're constantly absorbing new information, evaluating research, and applying it to your patients. It's like being a lifelong student of animal health.
Precisely. And then there's critical thinking.
Right.
Any vet needs this.
Yeah.
But for specialists, it's next level important. Think of it like this. A dog can't exactly tell you what's wrong.
Right.
You're relying on observations, lab results,
Yeah.
the owner's account.
Right.
You've got to piece together a diagnosis like a detective.
And I imagine that gets even more complex when you're dealing with exotic animals or rare conditions.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't just Google, "my parrot's lost its voice," and expect a straightforward answer.
Exactly. You need that ability to analyze information, think critically, and make sound judgments, often with limited information. And of course, you've got to communicate all of that to the owner.
Right.
Which brings us to another essential skill RoleCatcher emphasizes: communication.
That human touch is so important,
Oh, it's crucial.
especially when you're dealing with people who are worried about their beloved pets.
Absolutely. You need to be able to explain complex medical procedures in a way that makes sense.
Right.
You need to be able to deliver difficult news with empathy, and you need to be able to build trust with both the animal and their owner.
Yeah. It's not just about being an animal expert. It's about being a great communicator and building relationships.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered the academic foundation, the hands-on experience, the essential soft skills.
Right.
But what about landing that dream job?
Okay.
RoleCatcher gives us a sneak peek into the interview process.
They do, and it's insightful. They even provide some common interview questions,
Great.
which is gold for anyone who's feeling nervous about that stage of the process.
All right, let's dive into Section 5 then.
Okay.
Ace the interview, land the dream job, tips and tricks.
All right.
Give me the question that makes everyone sweat.
Well, they all have their own challenges, but one that often throws people is, can you describe a particularly challenging case you've worked on and how you handled it?
Okay, so they're not just looking for a textbook answer here.
No.
They want to see how you think on your feet and handle pressure. What's your advice for tackling this one?
Choose a case that highlights your problem-solving skills and your ability to make decisions under pressure. It doesn't have to be the most dramatic or heart-wrenching case,
Right.
but it should demonstrate your clinical reasoning and your thought process.
So maybe talk about a time when the diagnosis wasn't clear-cut, or you had to make a tough call with limited information.
Exactly. Walk them through your thought process step by step. What were the challenges? What were the different options you considered? How did you arrive at your decision? And don't forget to mention what you learned from the experience.
That shows them you're reflective and constantly seeking to improve your skills.
Exactly.
Okay, give me another common interview question they should be ready for.
How about this one? Why did you choose to specialize in this particular area of veterinary medicine? It seems straightforward, but it's really about showcasing your passion and your unique interests.
Right. Anyone can say they love animals,
Exactly.
but what is it about this specialty that truly excites you?
Right.
What gets you out of bed in the morning, even when you're on your fourth cup of coffee and haven't seen a sunrise in weeks?
Exactly. This is your chance to let your enthusiasm shine through.
Okay.
Share a compelling story, talk about a specific case that inspired you, connect your specialization back to your broader goals in veterinary medicine, make them see that you're not just here for a job, you're here for a purpose.
I love that. It's about finding that intersection between your passion, your skills, and the needs of the animals you serve.
Precisely. Now remember, the interview is a two-way street. You're also interviewing them to see if this is the right environment for you to learn, grow, and thrive.
That's such an important point. Don't be afraid to ask thoughtful questions about the caseload, the mentorship opportunities, the work-life balance, anything that will help you determine if this is a good fit.
Absolutely. It's about finding a workplace where you can not only develop your skills, but also nurture your passion and avoid burnout, which can be a real concern in this field.
That brings us back to something we touched on earlier, the importance of continuous learning and building a strong professional network. It's not just about surviving vet school. It's about thriving throughout your entire career.
Exactly. Attending conferences, joining professional associations, seeking out mentors, these are all ways to stay engaged, inspired, and connected to the broader veterinary community. It's about lifelong learning and collaboration.
And, even for those of us who aren't pursuing a career in veterinary medicine, these insights are incredibly valuable. The idea of finding your passion, honing your skills, building a strong network, that's relevant for anyone in any field.
I couldn't agree more. In today's rapidly evolving world, the ability to adapt, learn, and connect with others is essential for success and fulfillment, no matter what path you choose.
It's about being a lifelong learner, seeking out new challenges, and never being afraid to ask questions. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire some future veterinarians out there to take the leap and pursue their passion for animal care.
That would be wonderful. It's a challenging but incredibly rewarding path for those who are dedicated to improving the lives of animals.
Well said. And for those of you who are already on that path, remember, you're not alone. There's a whole community of passionate, dedicated individuals out there ready to support you every step of the way. That's it for our deep dive into the world of specialized veterinarians. We hope you've learned something new, gained a new appreciation for these incredible professionals, and maybe even discovered some hidden passions of your own. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those hearts open.